Okay, good morning, everyone. I'm going to go ahead and call this Senate meeting to order at 10:35 a.m. Hi. Okay, with that, I'm going to give it over to David for roll call. David, you have the minutes from last time, so you can see just the roll call there. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. So, President Naomi Dasari.
Present.
Present. Okay. And Vice President Ramses Galvez. Absent. Director of Finance Zach Eby.
Here. Present.
Zach is present. Director of Legislative Affairs Jacob Couch. I think he's here.
Yeah, I see him. Okay, he texted in the chat.
Okay. Director of Communications Amy Nguyen. She is absent, I think. Director of Public Relations Nick. Is Nick here?
Doesn't look like it.
Nick. Okay. Senator Hamzah. Senator Hamzah is absent.
Present.
Oh, actually, he is here.
Sorry.
Present. Okay. Sorry, by the way, I can't see. I'm reading the minutes right now.
No worries.
Okay, so Hamzah is present. Senator Efsoon. Senator Efsoon is absent. Senator Saleh. Senator Saleh is absent. Senator Stacey Burrows.
Present.
Senator Stacey is present. Senator Rachel Bustos Laborio.
Present.
Senator Rachel is present. Senator Oscar Flores. Senator Oscar Flores is absent. Senator Beheshta. Senator Beheshta is absent. Let's see, Beheshta. Senator David, I am here. Senator Mary Kay.
Present.
Senator Mary Kay is present. Senator Reed Waters.
Present.
Senator Reed is present. Senator Sasha.
Present.
Senator Sasha is present. And CABE President Mark Shepard.
Present.
And CABE President Mark Shepard is present. So we have 1.
I counted 11.
4, 5. So we have 5 absent, I believe.
Okay, well, the quorum is met. So,
Okay. So
yeah. Okay, well, that's good to hear. Okay, moving on to adoption of the agenda. I sent this out via Discord. You can also find it on the website and on Instagram. So hopefully you guys have all had the chance to look at that. So we are going to do an assumed adoption today. So if there are no objections, the agenda will be adopted. Hearing and seeing no objections, the agenda is adopted. Moving on to approval of the minutes. So this is from our last meeting, 19th February, and oh no, that's wrong. Ooh, it was 26th February, so that's wrong on the agenda. Oops. But I sent those via Discord also, so hopefully, again, you guys have gotten to take a look at that. And we'll do another approved. We'll have another one of the. We'll do it the same way. So if there are no objections, the minutes will be approved. Hearing and seeing no objections, the minutes are approved. Moving on to chair message. And David, I just saw Nick join, so you can add another person there. Okay, moving on to chair's message. Let's see, I've got a few things today. One is a reminder of the General Assembly. It's coming up March 26th through 28th. And we have a General Assembly related item on our agenda today. we do need a delegate for the for the assembly, and I have a few people who have said they're interested in it, like peripherally. Yeah, but if there's anyone else who's more interested in that also, please let me know. You can stay after and talk to me if you want. Another thing is Virtual Club Day is coming up. That's March 18th. And our training for how to use the program, Boost Central, is this coming Monday. And I don't remember what the date is. Wait, let me see. 5th is today. 6th, 7th, 8th. Okay, it's March 8th. And then the, oh no, wait, no, that's wrong. It'll be March 9th because it's on Tuesday. And then the registration deadline for clubs to register is the day after. So March 10th. And Brett has a Google form. Hopefully he can put that in the chat for clubs to register for Virtual Club Day. So yeah, moving on to our next, oh no, I have one more chair message. Okay, and that is there's a new task force being created, a new committee being created at the district level. That's the District Textbook Affordability Committee. And they're looking for a student representative, ARC. So if you're interested, you can let me know after the meeting and we'll get you appointed at the next meeting. Or, try to, if no one's interested, try to get the word out, see if anyone might be interested in that. Okay, and I think that's all I have for chair message. So with that, we're gonna move on to advisor's message. Brett, take it away.
Sure, thank you. Aloha, good morning. It's been another long week. What are we, week 7, 8, 52? I don't even know anymore. But thank you as always for coming to these meetings. I know it's challenging. I got to go to ARC again yesterday and I snuck into the student center just real quick. And it's just so weird to see it so empty. It's just, I can't get used to it. But I do have just a couple messages. So the first thing was the comedy show that you all sponsored was last Friday night. And I mentioned this to Cabe on Tuesday. It was hilarious. They had some local comedians that kind of have like a little national presence going. So I am working on getting the Zoom link for that, for anyone that wants to watch it. But the comedian Lance Woods, if anyone knows who he is, he's like a local comedian, had this set about new vegans. Oh my gosh, I was laughing so hard. I have not laughed that hard in a long time. So shout out to you all for sponsoring that. And you all got a shout out at the event. So they made that very well known. And they said their thank yous. So a couple other announcements. Elections, as you know, is currently underway. When I'm done blabbering here, I'll put the link in the chat again. Spread the word. This is where I need your all's help. Repost it on Instagram, put it on any other Discord channels you're on. If you're sitting in a class where they're still meeting on Zoom, put it in the chat. Ask your professor if you could give a quick 30-second, sales pitch, your elevator pitch. It will mean more coming from you all than it will from me. I'm just a dude in a Dodger hat sitting in my room right now. So, please help me and spread that word. Let's see, the Virtual Club Day, the sign-up sheet is in the chat. Mark, I know we'll talk about it later on, but it's March 18th from 1 to 4. We're hoping that clubs fill those spots, and then whatever spots aren't filled, we'll go to departments and programs around campus. So more to come on that, but save that date. It would be great for our student leaders to be able to hop into that meeting and just, say hi to folks. So even for like 10 minutes, you don't have to be there for 3 hours. Then the last thing I really have is March 19th, the following day. Not only do you all have a scheduled meeting, but it's the Counselors Day for high school counselors. And they do this in the spring usually, where counselors all come to ARC and administration and outreach staff talk to them about, why it's important to have students apply to Los Rios and ARC. So they're doing it virtual this year. And they've asked for a couple things. They've asked for students interested in a student panel that morning from 9 to 10. So it wouldn't interrupt Senate. I made sure of that. To just kind of speak on your experiences at ARC. They're looking for folks that went to high school here in the area, but that's not a requirement. That's just because they're going to have high school counselors. So even if you didn't go to high school here, that's totally fine. And then there's a workshop on like how to get involved in student leadership at noon that day that I'll be hosting. So if anyone wants to join me for that, that's at 12. So I just put those on your calendars. If anyone's interested in that type of work, please let me know. I think I have a couple sages that are interested, but I thought I'd shout out to you all too. Other than that, oh, today's the last day to apply for scholarships. So don't forget, today, I forget what time their cutoff is, but I know a few of you have already. So good luck for those of you applying to scholarships, and I hope you get all of them. With that, that's all I have. Monday marks 1 year since a haircut, so I think next week I'm finally going to get a haircut. So with that, Naomi, back to you. Thank you.
Thanks, Brent. Okay, with that, we'll move on to public comment. This time is reserved for members of the public to address the Student Senate on issues not already appearing on the agenda. A limit of 2 minutes per speaker shall be observed with a maximum of 4 minutes per topic. No discussion is allotted on public comment. The law does not permit any action to be taken nor extend a discussion of any items not on the agenda. The ASB Student Senate may briefly respond to statements made for questions posed. However, for further information, please contact the ASB Student Senate President for the item of discussion to be placed on a future agenda. Okay, I'm seeing a lot of members from the public, so I'm really excited. Is there anyone from the public who wishes to make a comment? I can't see who it is, but go ahead.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jen Galinato, and I'm the RAD for Region 2 from the Student Senate from California Community Colleges. It was already touched upon, but I do want to just remind you all to register for General Assembly, given that the deadline is coming up. It ends on March 19th, so please get registered as soon as possible. You do have a delegate, so your delegate actually attends for free. Everyone else outside of that is $50 each, and advisors can come too. There's something for everyone there. The schedule has been released. Additionally, I just wanted to put on your guys' radars a few big events that are going on within the SSCCC. First of all, within the region, we've got our speaker series that is going to occur on March 12th and 13th. So it would be great if you guys could come. Our treasurer has reached out to people, so hopefully we'll get people to attend that fundraiser. It's a really great one because we'll be spanning over a multitude of topics ranging from minorities to undocumented. The other big event that the SSCCC has going on additionally with General Assembly is our first ever Deaf Town Hall Awareness that is occurring on March 12th from 12 to 3. So it would be great if you guys could attend, and I can drop those links down below. So thank you so much for allowing me to be here, and we hope to see you guys at General Assembly.
Thank you, Jen. And about that $50 charge for the people who are not our official representative, we can pay that in the Student Senate. So that doesn't have to come out of your pocket if you're interested in going. Okay, any other members of the public who wish to address the Student Senate today? Okay. Hearing and seeing none, we'll move on to appointments and swearing in, of which we have none today. So we'll move on to unfinished business, also of which we have none today. So moving on to our first item under new business, and that is the financial aid presentation. Thank you, Mario, for being here today. He's going to go ahead and give us our presentation on financial aid.
Awesome. Thanks, Naomi. Good seeing everybody. I'm trying to share my screen. Can I get access to?
Yeah, let me, hang on. I know how to do this now. Okay, try now.
All right.
Yes.
All right, everybody. So good morning. I'm going to do a quick tidbit. So hopefully I'm going to make an assumption all of you already applied for your FAFSA or your California DREAM Act because the deadline was March 2nd. So you missed it by a couple of days, but you can still apply. It's just it's first come, first serve as far as like grants and scholarships and things of that nature for ARC. So right now, just so you know, like, so I do a lot of like these trainings like statewide. they're all virtual, but we do have a decline of students applying for FAFSA and the California Dream Act. So that's a bad thing for the state, but it could be a good thing for you all, because that means you just have more opportunity to possibly get more funding that's available, because there is a big decrease. Like I believe it's like, I don't know exact percentages because I didn't take that part down, but I know that it's like in the 20s or something like that. So it's pretty high. So part of my job is to go to high schools as well as like current work study students and student leaders on campus to make sure you're aware of the financial aid options that are there. So I'm gonna go ahead and start. So I'm the interim outreach specialist for financial aid. So I get to go out, like I said, into the community, actually the whole community. And right now that we're virtual, I've actually done like workshops like down in San Diego and LA, because there is people that are interested in coming back to the Sacramento area that find out about ARC. If, for example, you're part of a club or part of a community group and you think would be beneficial for me to talk to them about financial aid, I can do that as well. So, so just real quick, the importance of education, obviously you all know it because you're there, but I always think of it, especially when I'm talking to high school students, like, oh, a high school diploma, that on average, a person that gets a high school diploma makes $27,960. But then when I tell them, if you actually, this is by the US Census Bureau, but did you know that if you complete your bachelor's degree, you could be making $48,100? And they're like, oh, that's only at $21,000. And I'm like, only? What do you mean? Over the next 5 years, if you invest in your education and make, say, on average 48,000, over 5 years, 21,000 times 5, that means you're going to be making salary-wise in the next 5 years $100,000 more, right? In just 5 years of investing in your education. So if you're a money person like I was when I was 18 years old, I studied international business because I wanted to make a lot of money. This is just a breakdown of what average cost is once you receive this degree. So I know everyone, when I share this presentation, wants to make 80,000 or more, but getting a doctorate is not needed for everybody. Like if you're an engineer, you might not need a doctorate degree, but if you're a business major, you might need your MBA, right? If you're in higher ed like myself and Brett, you might need like a doctorate to be like a VP and a president and stuff like that. So just kind of keep that in mind. So today we're gonna go over the applications, just like what they are, the different types of financial aid, and the available resources for you all. And I'll put the scholarship link on the chat. It's due today, but there is additional scholarships on our financial aid website that you can also look at based off your major, gender, status, and things of that nature. So I'll put those two links there. So you're all familiar with FAFSA, FERPA, so the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act. So under federal law, we are not allowed to share information of your student records with anyone without your written permission. So we do have a release consent form that you can fill out in order if you want us to talk about your financial aid. So, you know, if Isla is a student at ARC, but Brett pays the tuition, I am not allowed to share how much refund money Isla is going to get because Brett is not an authorized individual that's on there. So we're really strict at that. Sometimes we get couples, we get parents that go back to school and they're like, no, give me the information, or they come to the over the counter. We're not allowed to do that at all. The form for FERPA for consent tells us if we can allow records for admissions, financial aid, conduct, and other things. So there is a form you have to fill out. Let's see. Is there a question in the chat or no? Okay. So I'm gonna share the links as well to these, but we have the California Dream Act, which I'll go more into detail. That's one of the first applications. I still have 2021 here because, believe it or not, students are still applying for this year for financial aid. We do have our second week March courses that are going to be beginning. So I do still do presentations for this year for students to apply for FAFSA or the Dream Act. FAFSA is a federal application. So this is something that you can qualify if you're a US citizen, and I'll go more into detail. Web grants for students is going to be really important because this is where you verify your GPA. And this will determine, once you fill out the March 2nd deadline, you're gonna have to verify your GPA. We send it, high school counselors send it to the web grants, but if you're a college student, we only send it once a year. So it's going to be very important that your GPA is verified, because this can determine if you could get merit-based scholarships and grants as well. So merit-based, you don't pay back. Merit-based means like, oh, Naomi got a 3.99 GPA while at ARC, they might be able to qualify for additional funds compared to someone that's need-based, that is basically based off the expected family contribution. So like the FAFSA and the DREAM Act do this like magical calculation with your parents' taxes or your own, and then they calculate all the need and the factors, and it's called an EFC, which is expected family contribution. And then they say, oh, David can afford $5,000 to go to ARC for the next year. And then from there, you kind of have to figure out a way to pay it. But if you have a good GPA, or if you're needs-based, you can look at different options. So either work study might be offered for you, a Pell Grant might be offered for you. It just depends on the need. And then it used to be known as a BOG fee waiver. Now it's actually the California College Promise Grant. So this is a free tuition for students. And first, you need to apply for the first step, which is FAFSA and California DREAM Act, in order to even know if you qualify for the California Promise Grant. We get so many students that come to us and say, oh, I qualify for the BOG waiver. I'm like, oh, you mean the California College Promise Grant? And they're like, yeah, I qualify for it. And I was like, how do you know? And they're like, because they told me so. And I'm like, well, have you filed the FAFSA or the California DREAM Act? They're like, no. So until you file the FAFSA or the California DREAM Act, then we can determine if you actually qualify for something. A lot of the times, high school or advisors or counselors tell them that they can qualify or apply for this, but you need to file first the FAFSA and the California DREAM Act. This is like the key to open a lot of doors. Like the FAFSA and the California DREAM Act gives you access to other scholarships, grants, and loans. And that's why it's so important to do it. A lot of people pay out of pocket because they're only taking 2 classes. But if they knew they had $6,000 to pay for tuition, you'd probably go full time if you could, right? If you knew all your classes were going to be paid for, you get money for rent and things of that nature. So please keep that in mind. I'm not going to like have you, I was originally going to have all of you raise your hands to see who's filed for FAFSA and California DREAM Act, but I feel like I'm going to call you out if you didn't raise your hand. So I'm not going to do that. But who files for the FAFSA? So it's the federal application. If you have a social security number, you would apply for FAFSA. If you're a US citizen or an eligible non-citizen per FAFSA definition. So if you hold a green card, you have a social security, you could apply for FAFSA. It's also okay if your parents don't have a social security, you're just gonna type zeros for your parents under when they ask you for a social security numbers. Who files the California DREAM Act? It's going to be an undocumented student and someone who has AB 540, AB 2000, or SB 68. And for this application, it's a state aid application. So if you want to go out of state, you might not get that much financial aid because this is just based off California state funds. And it's okay if a student or a parent do not have their social security, you just type in the zeros. And you're like, well, everybody always asks, what's AB 540, AB 2000? So this is what the form looks like. It's a California non-residential tuition exemption request. And this is what you would fill out. So you'll fill out your name, your information. You'll check one of the boxes of your status. So I have a concurrent non-immigrant visa, or I do not have a current non-immigrant visa by federal law, or I have a current non-resident visa. So not including a T visa or U visa. So you'll check one off. Then you'll tell us about how you actually apply in the column. So if one of them could be, I attended California high school for the 3-year requirements. Here, what we're trying to do is determine your California residency and to see if you can qualify for in-state tuition. Does anyone know how much in-state tuition is per unit? $46 per unit. Does anyone know how much out-of-state or international tuition is for 1 unit at ARC? It's a ridiculous amount, $353. So imagine like if you're an undocumented student, but you lived in California for 5+ years, 3 years, whatever, pick a number. Now, even though you have an address here, you pay your bills and you work here, you can't get in-state tuition. So you apply for an AB 540 form for in-state tuition. So $46 or $353. That's like over $300 more of tuition that you have to pay just because you need to prove your residency status. So that's why this form is really important. So when you're out in the community and someone says, I can't go to college, just say, hey, do you know there's a way for you to possibly get in-state tuition? And obviously there's column A and column B. I don't want to read all of them to you, but there is ways we could try to figure it out on how to help. And there's more bills and policies that are being happening that are going to hopefully make it more easier for undocumented or out-of-state students to be able to come into the community college. So back in the day, it just used to be 3 years of high school. Now they're including adult school. You going to community college, elementary and middle school have been added as well to show proof that you have attended school in California. The backside of the form, you're going to be very detailed. So, and I tell you this because you might not be the one that needs out-of-state tuition, but you know how it is, especially if you're first generation like I was. I'm going to go towards, Nick, I'm going to go for someone that's at ARC and ask them to help, right? And they're always going to say, oh, can you please help me do this? Because as first generation students, when we've never been at college, we're not going to go ask directly the department first. We're going to ask the person that we know that's there to try to help us out. So always encourage them to be like, oh, hey, you know what? Mario can help you and whatnot. But hopefully at least you know what the requirements, which is why I'm going into detail. So we're going to need the name of the school, the type of institution, was it high school, adult school, community college, what city, and how long you attended. The how long you attended is very important because it determines the amount of years that someone might qualify and how many credits you got as well. And then you'll sign, you'll date it, and then from there we'll get someone in admissions and records will go over it and approve or deny you. If you get denied, please petition. I always say maybe you forgot to include that 1 year in between that you went back to your home country and you came back for a year and you just forgot. But then you remembered after you completed the form. If you don't get approved, have them appeal. All of our students have the appeal process for this, as well as even financial aid. I always tell students, okay, you didn't get financial aid this semester because you fell below 2.0, prove your case. I can't help you write it, but I can at least help you through that process. And that's your right as a student to be able to appeal these processes. So the March 2nd deadline happened, but why is it important? Is because you get priority filing for the Cal Grant A, B, and C deadlines that happen. So if any of you have Cal Grant B or C, Cal Grant A is reserved usually for four-year schools, but if you get it, you can use it when you transfer. And just so you know, October 1st is when it opens every year. So this year on October 1st will open for next year. So the types of aid that we have, if the federal government funds come from, for example, FAFSA application, and California government or state government comes from the California Dream Act. So some of you might have the Pell Grant, which you get $569 to $3,173 per semester. So if you get a Pell Grant, you get over, say if you're full-time, you can get up to $6,200 for the year. So that means tuition is only $46. So that means there's still leftover money for you to pay other things such as your rent, your UTP sticker, maybe you pay for food. This gives you an option to pay for books as well as other things. Other federal aid is our direct loan. So there's subsidized and unsubsidized. So there's differences between those as far as like the interest rate and when you pay it back. We also have federal supplement educational opportunity grant. That's $300 per semester. And this is, you have to apply before March 2nd to qualify for this grant. And then we also have federal work study. So federal work study is, so say the financial aid office, CLD, Emoja, Puente, they're all looking for students to work. You can ask to see if they're hiring and tell them that you have work study for you to be able to work at the office, and the federal government pays it. So you get a check that will pay for your employment. The maximum amount is $2,400. So that's how much a year you can qualify for, $2,400 for federal work study. So it's a good opportunity for you to be able to work on campus while you're already in school as well. So state aid, we have a Cal Grant, which is $836. And this you need to apply by the March 2nd deadline. We also have the Student Success Completion Grant. If you take 12 to 14.99 units, you get $649 a semester. And if you take 15 units or more, you're going to commit yourself to being full-time. They'll give you up to an additional $2,000 per semester. And then the California Promise Grant, which we talked about, is used to be known as a VOG waiver, gives you free tuition paid for. So if you get the California Promise Grant or the financial aid, you do have to maintain academic standards. So for the California College Promise Grant, you need to maintain a 2.0 GPA and a cumulative completion of 50%. So if you took 12 units, you have to at least pass 6 or more units in order for you to stay eligible for the California College Promise Grant. For financial aid for grants as well as loans, you have to maintain per term an overall 2.0 GPA, and then you need to maintain an overall completion of 66.67. So if you are taking 12 units, you need to pass at least 9 units in order for you to stay okay with the financial aid. If you don't, then you'll have to appeal and why you fell below and things of that nature. Another thing for getting financial aid, you have to make sure that you don't meet, or that you have not completed 150% of your program. So if you're culinary arts and your program is 60 units, but you already took 90 units, you've already reached over the 150 completion. So then you're going to have to actually appeal to see why that happened. So maybe, you know, you change your major and you were like, I'm almost done. I just need 6 more classes to go. So you'll go ahead and appeal that process. And the appeal process, sorry, is actually on our financial aid website. It's called the SAP. So number one thing when people apply for FAFSA or California Dream Act, they're like, I haven't heard anything back. And it's because they haven't checked their e-services. So the first thing you need to do is actually go to your to-do list on e-services, because on there, it's going to tell you the things that you need to complete before we can actually award your letter. So disclaimer, I don't award letters, so I don't look at your packages. I'm the one that's like going out to encourage people to apply. So I do all the outreach. And then we have 9 financial aid officers that do all the packaging with everything that needs to go. So they need all these forms in order to even like complete your package and award it. So say David didn't turn in their degree questionnaire, for example, to declare their major or whatnot. So that's going to delay the process. So we can't confirm if David's classes match up with his major for financial aid. So that delays the process. So until all these things are complete, then we're going to need these information in order to award you the best package, because then it's harder to go back and repackage that. So another thing is, oh, I applied, I haven't heard back, is, well, we're waiting for a message. So the message could be, you know, something's missing. So I'm a reminder on the to-do list. Maybe you're enrolled in a program that you're not eligible for within your major. Courses are not applicable to your financial aid. Or maybe you haven't, maybe you've applied and you're getting money, but you haven't even got your bank mobile refund check kit. So you haven't even set it up to get your check mailed. So we get a lot of calls like, oh, I was supposed to get $6,000 back, but they haven't even set up their bank mobile refund account. So they need to do that as well. There's a lot of responses like the financial aid officers apply. So like the student action request or incomplete files, they all go to the messages on your e-services. So once everything's filled out and you've been calling the financial aid office like for 2 weeks, because we're so backed up, we can't answer phone calls as quickly as we want or emails. That's just the nature of it. I wish we had more phones and more people checking emails, but we're pretty backed up still, even within week 7, awarding people. It's like very interesting how, and they're working not 24/7, but we're working till 7 from 8 just to answer questions. It's just a lot. But a way you, instead of calling for how much aid you're gonna get, is you can check your e-services portal and check. So right now you're gonna click say 2021 because you wanna know how much you got for spring. You can go in and check your award. One of the biggest misconceptions students sometimes get is, please, when you go into your award letter, accept your award status. So this student got a Pell Grant, so they're getting $652, but they never accepted their Pell Grant, so it's just sitting there. So you need to actually hit accept. There's gonna give you an option to accept and decline. Accept it. It's up to you, but if it's free money, take it. If you don't have to pay it back, then, you know, remember you have a lot of additional costs. Like, it's not just your tuition and books. It's like you have to pay for rent. What about for food? If you're like, you know, driving to campus and you don't use your UCP sticker, you're gonna need to pay for gas. So make sure to utilize, you know, as much free money, grants and scholarships that you can get to be able to do that. And obviously it won't affect your financial aid because the financial aid officers have already awarded you enough allocation money to do for the cost of living within the award letter that they packaged. So you can also click on the second tab, which is disbursement, and it'll tell you, oh, Brett will get, you know, $3,000 on XYZ date. So you can click on there. And then it gives you options for the financial aid summary, the federal loan request if you're requesting loans, and the financial aid courses that you are eligible to use with that financial aid. And hopefully all of you have been getting refund checks, you know, because of all the scholarships and grants that you get. Make sure to enter your personal code when you're receiving the money and how you want to receive the money so they can mail you the check. They can do a direct deposit into your own personal account, or you can create a bank mobile account and it'll go directly into your account. And if you never received or lost your refund, you can go to the business service office to get the instant personal code. And then if you activate it before, say last semester, but you don't remember how to access it, you can go ahead and call the number or click on the link. So you can go ahead and do that. And then they'll reset your password. And then you'll get an email in your messages to make sure that you tell them exactly if you want direct deposit, the paper check, or put in your bank mobile. And then again, the deadline is March 2nd, which already passed, but still apply. You don't know what's available. And then these are the list of resources. So the Department of Education takes care of the FAFSA. The California Student Aid Commission takes care of the California DREAM Act. And you have any other questions like Cash for College that actually they walk you step by step in the application process, you call a hotline. Then we have web grants for students, which is where you verify your GPA. Then if you want to check all the loans and the database, there's a National Student Loan Database. And then we have Bank Mobile, obviously, to get your refund check, and our ARC Financial Aid Office. Please make sure that when you call the financial aid office, you put your security PIN. So we need to verify your PIN in order to be able to speak to you and call you back. So people will just be like, hi, my name is blah, blah, blah. My WID number is this, but we can't confirm your identity unless we get the security PIN. So please make sure that you include that in your voicemail or your email. And then our office is closed, but we're virtual. So we're available Monday through Friday. So that's the nuts and bolts. I'm going to send you all the scholarships that Brett was talking about that are due on the 5th, but then there's also external scholarship opportunities that you can still apply throughout the semester for next academic year. Any questions? I can answer general questions, not like specific, like, because I can't access your whole award package.
Okay, any questions for Mario? Okay, I see one in the chat. So David's asking, where can I withdraw money if I wanted to?
As far as your withdraw money, as in like from your refund check, David, or Bank Mobile? Ooh, you would, let me pop up the number because I don't know where there's other branches. I know right now currently when we were on campus, everyone would go on campus to the ATM machine, but you could probably, if you have the debit card, this is the number you can call. Because is there other Bank Mobile ATMs outside of ARC? Does anyone know? Call the 1-877 number because I thought it was I think there's more than one branches, but I haven't seen them like roaming around Sacramento like, oh, there's one. So I don't know if you have on the back of your debit card, you're able to locate it, but to pull out money, because the student center is closed and I know there's ATM in there. So I don't know if there's any other Bank Mobile. I can look it up real quick on my phone to see if there's additional ones, but that's a good question. I actually don't. I guess no one else uses Bank Mobile?
So while Mario's looking that up, are there any other questions right now we can add in the queue?
There's only Bank of the West. I don't see any bank. Is Bank Mobile a real bank? Yeah, it was launched. It's only an online bank that focuses on serving millennials, college students, and otherwise tech-savvy bank customers who want to avoid banking fees. So I guess that's a no. But call that 1-877 number just to get more information. So it's 1-877-327-9515. But I guess it's an online bank, so I don't think they actually have branches. Because I typed in branches. Good to know.
David has another question for you in the chat.
Okay.
So it's, do we have to renew our application every year?
Yes. And this is so important, especially right now that we're in COVID. You might be able to qualify for additional funds. So please take advantage of that. Even though it asks for your tax of 2019 currently, you can still show proof through financial aid for this year for 2020 that even though 2019, say your parents or yourself made like $60,000, $70,000, you can still go back in to modify your taxes to show the need for this year. So please take advantage of it, which is why I'm also doing presentations to our current ARC students, because a lot of the times people think, oh, my first year I only got like $4,000, so I'm not going to get any money next year. Well, the reality of it is there might be additional funds that are out there that you might not be aware of as well. There's like a middle class scholarship. There's like a Chafee grant scholarship for foster youth. There's so many like things that I didn't even know about when I went to college. But now that I'm working in financial aid, I was like, what? There's something for this? There's something for that? Like, there's just a lot of little pockets of like $300, $600, $1,000 here and there. So yes, please apply every year. That's why like part of my job is also to go to current students to talk to them. Right now I'm working with like work study students to make sure that they applied on time, because if not, they might have jobs next year if they don't qualify for work study. Because they think that just because you get work study this first year, you're gonna get work study next year. So I'm kind of working slowly my way through different pockets of ARC students while still doing high school. But yes, please apply. So if you haven't applied, don't tell me, but I can help you. You can email me. We can like schedule some time just to kind of at least start you off. It is 100 questions, but supposedly they're working on reducing the scholarship, or sorry, the questions on, they're supposedly reducing the 100 questions on the financial aid to be lower so it's easier to apply, because a lot of students aren't applying because it's too long. And I put my email in the chat as well. But yes, please apply. Even if you only get $1,000, that's $1,000 you could save to pay 1 month's worth of rent. You know, schedule a vacation to Hawaii once we're post-COVID. That $1,000 goes a really long way. Like if you think about it, right? Like, let me see, I'm gonna do a calculation if you're more of a calculation. So say you get $1,000 in scholarships and each unit is $46, that means it pays for 21 of your units. So if you're taking 12 units, that could potentially pay for what? A 1 semester full-time 12 units and then another 11 for, nine next semester. Obviously I'm not a math major, but you know what I'm saying? Like that's just, that $1,000 could just pay easily for your tuition. So, and everything goes a long way. And then you just have to worry about rent and your books, right? So some help is better than no help. And wouldn't you rather know like how much you're qualified for? And as hopefully all of you are transferring, I always tell students, apply for UCs, CSUs, private schools to see how much money you're getting. Like I know your dream school is to go to Berkeley or whatnot, but look to see how much a CSU is gonna pay you. Maybe a CSU will give you like more financial aid, or a private school. Like I went to private school because I got $20,000 for free that I didn't have to pay back to go to a private school, but the CSU, Cal Poly Pomona, only gave me $6,000. That didn't even cover for 50% of tuition for the whole year. So I chose to go to a private school because it gave me more money. It was more expensive, but I had to pay less money out of pocket. So yeah, let's see. I'm gonna go back in the chat. Is there a question? Or yeah, UC Santa Barbara. Any type of school.
Hey, Mario, Mark did find the ATMs for Bank Mobile. He put it in the chat there.
Oh, cool. I'm gonna look it up myself. Any other questions? I know this is not the fun topic, you know. I usually, sometimes for high school students, do polls, like how much money on scholarships do you want to get, like 1,000, 5,000, 10,000. And it's very interesting how some people put 1,000, and I'm like, no, you don't know how much college costs. It could be expensive. Even community college can be expensive because you're probably like paying for rent, and the books are not cheap at all, right? So I think a lot of people have misconceptions of what college. Is there a way for us to list all the campuses we're transferring to and then be given them out? So you have up to 10 campuses that you can actually put on your financial aid. So say you apply to 10 schools, and say, for example, you didn't get into USC, UCLA, then you can go back the next day after 24 hours and add more schools, but you can also delete USC, UCLA, and then add 2 more schools that you're interested in. So in order for you to check your award, yeah, you could. Once you verify your GPA, you can check to see how much money you would potentially be getting, but also make sure you apply for the school. Like you can't just get financial aid for a school you didn't apply, because they don't even know that, they don't even have your application. So you can't just be like, ooh, I applied for FAFSA. Let me see how much USC and UCLA is going to give me if you didn't apply, right? First, you need to apply for the campus as well in order for you to have the financial aid officer at that school even look at your package. Back in my days, in 2002, when I started college, they used to mail us financial aid letters in snail mail. You would get an envelope with the thing. You would have to sign your promissory note in person and mail it back. If you were lucky, some campuses had fax. So this was 2002. So now we're in 2021. So y'all just have to like go on your portal, click accept or decline. Back in the day, it was not like that.
Okay, so any other questions for Mario? Okay, if not, I want to just mirror kind of what Stacey said. Thank you, Mario, for being here today, for giving this presentation. It was really interesting and really helpful.
I'm glad. I'm glad no one fell asleep. Hopefully we're still awake. All right, bye y'all. Take care and keep advocating for our students. Take care.
Bye, Mario.
Bye.
Thank you, Mario.
Okay. So with that, we'll move on to our next item under new business, and that is the SSCCC resolution voting survey results confirmation. And I am going to share screen now. I hope. Did that work? Okay, yeah, I think it did. Okay. Can someone confirm that they see this?
I can see it.
Yes.
Okay, awesome.
Same.
So I kind of did this using the combination of what I heard from our last, our special meeting and from the survey results. So what I want to do here is like an assumed adoption for each resolution. And I have a checklist here so I can do this. So what I'm just gonna do is say, okay, based on the vote here, so for the first one, disabled student awareness, are we okay with our delegate voting yes? And then if I hear no objections, then we're gonna say yes, we're okay with that. And then if we hear no, we can have a little discussion on whichever resolution it is that someone's objecting to what our majority vote was. Does that make sense? I'm hoping it does.
It does.
Perfect, awesome. Because I know it was a little out there at the special meeting. So, okay. So if there are no objections for the first resolution, disabled student awareness, we are going to be voting yes at the General Assembly. Are there any objections to that? And remember, I can't see you guys since I'm sharing screen, so it has to be verbal. So hearing no objections, we're going to vote yes. We're going to have our delegate vote yes on this resolution. Awesome, okay. And then hopefully that makes sense for the next ones. Okay, for the affordable low-income housing, are we okay with our delegate voting yes? Okay, hearing no objections, we're okay with voting yes. For the free period products and movement towards menstrual equity, our delegate is currently marked to vote yes on that. Are we okay with that? Yes, okay. Free term limits for California school districts. Our delegate is currently marked to vote no on this. Are there any objections to that? Okay. So our delegate's voting no. Minimum qualifications for SBA advisor. Brett talked a little bit about that at our special meeting. So our oh no, I missed one, sorry. Advocacy for ethnic studies. Our delegate is currently marked to vote no on this. Are we okay with that?
I object.
Okay,
Object.
Sasha, go ahead. We're gonna have a discussion for that one. So-
I think we. Oh, okay.
Yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
Okay, what I will say is I remember what we had discussed for this. A lot of people were in favor of the idea of having ethnic studies, but not if it added a different, like it talked about adding it to IGETC, not if it added a different section. So if you've looked at the IGETC, it has the sections for, you know, maths and different sciences and all that. And so what people's problem with that one was that if you add another box there that students have to check off, it makes it harder for them to graduate. So the interest was in having an ethnic studies, but not having it be, but having it more replacing something else and not adding another box to make it harder for students to graduate. And that information wasn't in the resolution, it wasn't specified. So that's why I know several people had objected to that, the majority of us.
Okay, I see. Is there a way to amend that bill and say, hey, can you add it to like to social sciences or something? Or so it's a part of IGETC, so it doesn't actually like hamper students graduating and transferring?
So from what I've heard is they're not doing it, that they're not doing amendments during the actual summit this year. That the so if you look down, you can see that certain resolutions have amended areas. So that was supposed to go in before. So we don't know yet, or I don't know yet anyway, if they're having like in meeting amendments. So what we can say is if they do allow it, if they do allow amendments, that we'd like our delegate to propose that amendment. But if not, if it's not allowed, then they would vote no or yes or something.
Okay, I see.
Yeah.
Chair.
Brett, yeah, go ahead.
I'm going back through the email that the advisor for SSCCC sent out about GA, and so I'll get back to you on the amendments. But that does sound right. That I remember reading somewhere that they weren't going to do it because, you know, it would take forever.
Yeah.
In person, it's a lot easier to do than Zoom, as you all know, right? You're all living it right now. So let me find that out for sure.
Okay. So then we can move on from that right now and come back to that. So the next one is the minimum qualifications for SBA advisor. And we are currently marked to vote no on that. Are there any objections? Okay, hearing and seeing no objections, our delegate will be voting no on that. Moving on to the next resolution, menstrual sustainability, access and equity. We are currently marked to vote yes on this. Are there any objections? Okay, hearing no objections, we're going to be voting yes on that. Moving on to the next one, establishment of gender studies. And I think that was the same issue that we had for the ethnic studies. So we'll wait to hear what Brett has to say before doing that. So we'll skip that for now. Moving on to the bolstering student participation in shared governance, we have it marked as yes. Are there any objections? Okay, hearing none, that we will be voting yes on that. Moving on to student empowerment in hiring practices. We are currently marked as voting yes on that. So you can see that. Are there any objections to that? Okay, hearing and seeing none, we'll be voting yes. Moving on to student leadership recognition in district governance. We are currently marked as voting yes on that. Are there any objections? Hearing none, we will be voting yes on that. Moving on to food pantry support, which we are currently marked as voting no on. Are there any objections to that?
I object. Is there any more information on that?
Yes, so if you've looked at the survey for this and then have been able to read the resolutions, this resolution had proposed creating our own food pantry as well as supporting others. And the thing that we had discussed was that it doesn't really make sense for our student government in the place that we are at right now to create our own separate food pantry, just because it would take away from an already established food pantry on campus. We wouldn't be able to get the same recognition likely. And if there's already a set resource on campus, it makes more sense to support that. So this resolution is proposing that every student government, have their own food pantry and then support it. And we talked, I think, about, if we are allowed to amend, then amending the resolution so that it says, creating your own student government food pantry, unless there is already one on campus, in which case we would add additional support to that. Yeah. And if anyone who is at that special meeting wants to add in on that, feel free.
That makes a lot of sense. Thank you.
Awesome. Okay. Are there any objections to voting no on this? Any other objections? Okay, hearing none, we will be voting no on this resolution. Moving on to the next one, which is the Bill of Privileges resolution, which we are also marked as voting no on. And I'll give some background information. Looking at the resolution, a lot of the things that it had proposed to add in the Bill of Privileges are already things that are, that are part of Student Senate, like being the official voice and all that. That they were already things that were specified in our student government, so it didn't make sense to us at the time. So are there any objections to voting no on this Bill of Privileges resolution? Okay, hearing none, we're going to be voting no on that. Moving on to the non-credit student. Okay, hang on. I wonder if I could just mass do those, but no. Okay. Moving on to the open educational resource book advocacy. We are marked as voting yes on that. Are there any objections? Okay, hearing none, we're going to be voting yes on that. Moving on to non-credit student leadership and enfranchisement. Are there any objections to that one? Okay, hearing none, we'll be voting yes on that. Moving on to the amendment resolution for the non-credit student leader enfranchisement. And we are marked as voting yes on that. Are there any objections? Okay, hearing none, we'll be voting yes on that. Moving on to book services for student accessibility, we're marked as voting yes. Are there any objections? Hearing and seeing none, we will be voting yes on that. Moving on to emergency student body association exemptions, we're marked as voting yes on that. Are there any objections? Hearing none, we'll be voting yes on that. Okay, the next one, addition of the A+ grade symbol, and we are marked as voting no on that. Are there any objections to that one? Okay, hearing and seeing none, our delegate will be voting no. Hearing none, not seeing, I can't, right, I can't see you guys. Okay, moving on to the next one, civic engagement, we're marked as voting yes on that. Any objections? Hearing none, we'll be voting yes on that. Moving on to supporting mental health safety, not stigmas. and we're marked as voting yes on that one. Are there any objections? Hearing none, we'll be voting yes on that one. Support for increasing nursing program resources and eliminating the lottery system, we're marked as voting yes on that. Are there any objections? Okay, hearing none, we'll be voting yes. Moving on to creation of the natural relief fund, we're marked as voting yes on that one. Are there any objections? Nope. Okay, we'll be voting yes on that one. Moving on to the restore funding and resources for impacted families of gun violence and police brutality, we're marked as voting yes. Are there any objections? Nope. Okay, we're voting yes on that one. Free community college, we're marked as voting yes. Are there any objections? Nope. Okay, we're voting yes on that one. And then the amendment resolution for that one, the free community college, we're also marked as voting yes. Are there any objections? Nope. And the online student equity asynchronous courses, we're marked as voting yes on that one. Any objections? Hearing none, be voting yes. Executive position minimum requirements, and that one was one that was postponed from the last General Assembly. So if there are no objections, we'll be voting yes on that one. Are there any objections? Okay, hearing none, we'll be voting yes on that one. And then we're going to go back to the advocacy for ethnic studies, and then the where is it? The establishment of the gender studies requirement. Brett, do you have any more information for that one? Okay, I'm gonna stop sharing for a second because I can't. I'm missing you guys. Okay. Any more information about those? About either the advocate, like I think you had talked about. You were going to check. What was it? The amendment part of that, how that's allowed or not.
Yeah, you were going through the resolutions there, but I emailed I believe they're Dr. Adams from SSCCC to get some more clarity on that. So if I hear that resolution or amendments are allowed, then I will let you and the board know when I find out.
Okay, so then what I propose for now is just to put vote no if they're not allowed to if they're not allowed to amend on the floor. And if they are allowed to amend on the floor, have our delegate amend it so that it's not created as an additional requirement, but replacing a already set I get you requirement. So since we're talking about amending that one, I'd just like to see a thumbs up because I'm back and I can see you guys' thumbs up now. So if I could get a thumbs up if you are okay with the voting no or trying to amend it on the floor. Marika, I see your hand raised. Do you want to say something?
No, it's just my thumbs up because I don't have that.
Okay. Yeah, hands raised or thumbs up, both are fine. Okay. So I've seen 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think I counted 5 thumbs up here. And I think I saw David message something in the chat. Okay, you want to support it even if it does not replace it. David, do you want to say anything more about that?
I would say if we're still discussing whether we object, or I guess voting yes or no, I would say I will cast my vote as a yes to support it, because I believe it's important that there are some ethnic studies courses, even if it needs to be an additional course to the I get you list. And you mentioned that if they can amend it and have one of the classes replaced, I think that's going to be a slippery slope because other classes may be essential as well to be well-rounded as a student, to, yeah, mainly that. So I think an additional course is might be necessary. And for that reason, I vote yes.
Okay, you want voting yes, okay. Just because of the nature of this, is it okay if we do like more parliamentary procedure on this one, even though it's not official resolution, but just like having a roll call vote? Just I'm kind of losing track here a little bit.
Sure.
Okay, so what I'm calling as the motion for us to vote yes or no on is, are we okay with having ethnic studies and then gender studies as voting no on that, or having the oh god, yeah, I'm losing track, you guys, sorry. Man, okay, amending it or voting no on that. And you can just vote yes or no if you're following what David and Stacey are saying, voting no. Okay, hang on. Sorry, you guys, this is getting a mess for me. Okay, if you want us to vote yes on it, vote yes. If you want us to vote no or wanted to have a resolution, then vote no. Okay.
Sure.
David, you are taking the minutes. So if you could do a roll call vote, it's very similar to the, you just follow the same attendance list for everyone who is present except for me, because I'm not allowed to vote. So
Chair.
Or do I? Okay.
Hamzah, yeah. Sorry,
So I
David.
think what I'm getting from everybody, that first we want to amend it, whether it's yes or no, like we just don't want it to be required. But I think everybody overall, regardless if we can or we cannot, we I think a yes vote on that. But I do want it to, I think everybody here want to see if we can amend it first and then go from there. Because requiring it is the difficult part to agree on.
Right. So I know there were a few, I didn't see Stacey's message yet incomplete, but David, you were suggesting not having the not having it as not replacing a already set box on the IGETSI, but having it as an additional box. Basically, that's how I'm going to put it.
Yes, because I think you mentioned that
Yeah.
we would vote no for now, and then see if they can amend it later and find out if it can be a replacement of an existing class already. And I disagree with that. I think it's necessary that we have the ethnic studies course as an additional course.
Okay, so if you are all okay with that, and I can change the voting a little bit here and put it as yes, we support this resolution. No, I don't support this resolution. And no, I don't support, and yes with the resolution. Yes with an amendment. So yes, as it is, yes as an amendment, and no, I don't support it. Is that an okay vote for you guys? Is that
It is
kind of, it's kind of messy, so I don't know if it's.
Chair?
Mary Kay, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm definitely confused now on what we're voting at this point.
Sorry, guys.
And then I also have a question. In terms of when David says it should be another one, and we're saying another one, are we talking like how we have social science, like another group would say ethnic studies, and it will have a bunch of ethnic study courses? Or are we just placing it as one of the options for, like, let's say humanities at that point?
I believe what, David, you can respond, but I believe what you're suggesting is having it as a separate box from the humanities, like having a specific box that says ethnic studies.
Yeah, the latter.
Right.
And we're gonna offer different ranges of courses within that, because you're gonna need a lot of class variations and professors for that.
See, I don't think we know exactly what ethnic studies would entail once it's adopted to the IGETSI. But I think for now, our purpose is to vote whether we support the idea of ethnic studies. And currently for me, I say I vote yes, I support it, even if it does not replace a course, because the opposition that I'm hearing is that we would vote no now, and in the future, if we found out that it would be a replaced course, then we would vote yes. But see, I disagree with that because I still think that it's important, even if it does not replace a course. Is that right?
Okay. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. That still is kind of a bind here. So is there any confusion as to where the separate ideas are right now? And I'm not talking about any vote right now. I'm just talking about what the different stances are so far. Okay. Brett, as our advisor, do you have any suggestions here? Sorry to put you on the spot, but.
No, that's fine. I was racking my brain as y'all brought up good points. The one thing we could do, because I know there's like the amendment question, right? You could, all your other resolutions sounded like yay or nay went okay. There was no objections. You could have on that chart and then put a little asterisk next to the one that we're discussing. And when I find out more from the state, you can just put it under unfinished business for next week. And then we'll have some more clarity on the issue. And then you can either pass that resolution as is or seek to amend it. There's just a lot of variables that we don't really have the answers to yet. So, and I know we're kind of talking about two different things here. So that would be my advice, just so that we have all the information present, so that as board members, you vote knowing all the info, as opposed to possible scenarios. But that's just my advice, but it's up to how y'all want to do it.
Okay, so for the ethnic studies and then the gender studies, I like what you said about following up later at the next meeting. But I still want to do a roll call vote since it seems like we have some objections on the current vote of no. So what I'm proposing here is we do a roll call vote, just simple, straight up, yes or no, do we support this resolution? And then it can go on the agenda for next week. Kind of following Brett, okay. So David, we'd be doing that for both the ethnic studies and for the gender studies requirement resolution. And David, since you are our minute taker this meeting, I'll give you a second to just get ready, just to mark who's here and who'd be in the role.
Is it okay if I just go based off of the people that we currently have in this meeting?
Yes, yeah.
Okay. So my plan is to just write the name down, their votes, and then send it. Okay.
Okay.
So yeah, and then I'll put it onto my page
minute.
over here.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's see. We have, and President Naomi, are you voting on this or no?
I'm not voting, no.
Okay, that's what I thought. Let's see. Let me pull up the thing. Okay, so what about Vice President? Oh, he's not here.
He's not here.
Director.
But normally he would vote.
Gotcha.
Stacey, what you said, we're voting first on the ethnic studies one. Yeah, chair can vote only to break a tie or force a tie. Yeah. Okay, yeah, we're voting first on the ethnic studies. So remember, a yes vote is that you want us to vote yes for that resolution, and a no vote is that you want us to vote no on that resolution. And then again, the same thing, it will be the same thing for the gender studies resolution. Okay, David, take it away.
Okay. Director of Finance, Zach Abbey.
Wait, which is
Oh,
this
we're
one?
doing
Sorry.
the ethnic studies one.
Yeah.
I voted yes, so
You
I'll stay
vote
with
yes.
Okay. Director of Legislative Affairs, Jacob Couch.
Jacob, you still here?
I can skip him for now.
Okay.
Or is that going to be an abstain or?
Put it as an abstain for now. We're not really
Okay.
technically allowed to abstain, but I don't know if he's here or not, so.
Okay.
Probably, okay. Just, yeah, put him as abstain.
Okay. Director of, Amy's not here. Director of Public Relations, Nick.
No.
Okay. Senator Hamzah,
Yes.
Senator Afsoon is absent. Senator Soleil is absent. Senator Stacey.
Yes.
Sorry, please bear with me. Okay, Senator Rachel.
No.
Okay, and Senator Oscar is absent. Senator Beheshta is absent. Senator David, I vote yes. Senator Mary Kay.
No.
Senator Reed.
No.
Senator Sasha.
I vote yes, but with more, like next meeting, can we,
Yeah,
I want
this
more
will get,
information. Yeah, I want more information about this resolution to see like what paths we could do. But for now, I vote yes.
Okay, and K President Mark.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4. I believe that's it. Is
so
there
you said
anybody that I
6
missed?
yeses? Hang on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 yeses, and 1, 2, 3, 4 no's. Okay, yeah, and I think you got everyone. Okay, Jacob left. So yeah. Okay, so then with the majority yes, we'll be changing our vote to yes, and then obviously this will be under next week for more business. So we are changing the vote to yes. Okay. And thank you, David. You did a great job. So if you can do the same great job with the gender studies resolution. And again, a yes vote is saying you support this resolution, and a no vote is saying you do not support this resolution. You do not support us voting no. Okay, I'll just stick with that. Yes.
Gender. Okay, going on to the gender studies, or yeah, I think it's gender studies. Director of Finance, Zach. How do you vote?
I voted no.
No. Okay, and then Jacob. Jacob is probably not here.
Yeah, he left. So I don't know
Okay.
if there's some tech issues there.
Okay. Jacob, do I still just put him no or absent or left the meeting early?
You just skip him for now.
Okay. Nick,
No.
Hamzah,
Yes. Just to clarify, yes on the establishment of the studies.
okay. Stacey,
I voted no. I'm looking forward to that discussion next week.
okay, and let's see, Rachel,
No.
David is also no. Mary Kay,
No.
Reed,
No.
no. Sasha,
Yes, but with more info.
okay, President Mark,
No.
okay. So the majority says no.
Okay, so our vote for this one is staying as no, but again, this will also be on the agenda for next week if the vote changes with if we find out if we can amend on the floor. So yeah, okay. Thank you, David, and thank you everyone for putting up with this mess. Okay, so I think we are we are done for this item for now on this agenda. So with that, we're going to move on to our next item of business, which is the committee reports. Okay, are there any committee reports? Okay, hearing and seeing none, we will move on to board member reports and announcements. Are there any board member reports or announcements today?
Sure.
Stacey, go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to share a little bit of information about a couple of upcoming events. One of them is actually Stanford's Astronomical Society is holding a public event this evening at 5, and it's free. So if you want to learn more about astronomy and research, that's potentially a good opportunity. And then another event that's coming up this weekend is the 36th Annual Wildlife and Exotic Animal Symposium at UC Davis. It's not free, but it is $10 and it's completely via Zoom. So I can give you the link for that too if you want to check it out.
Awesome. Okay, thank you, Stacey. Okay, any other board member reports or announcements?
Chair.
Yeah, go ahead.
As was mentioned earlier, March 18th, we're gonna have our club day from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. It's on it'll be posted on IG with the link to Booth Central. Later on today at 1:30, we have the club day committee report, or club day committee meeting, excuse me. So yeah.
Awesome. Okay, Mark. Thank you for that. Any other board member reports or announcements?
Yes, Chair.
Hamzah, yeah, go ahead.
So me and Mario have been working for a while on basically establishing a voice for Middle Eastern, North African students. And we're actually gonna work with the UC Riverside. We have a collaboration, so they have already established Middle Eastern community out there, and they do pretty cool stuff, teach how to cook Arabic food, authentic food, calligraphy and different cool stuff like that. And you get to hear their stories. So we're gonna get to learn a couple things and hopefully get to bring them on campus pretty soon.
Awesome. Thanks, Hamzah. Okay, any other board member reports or announcements? Okay, hearing and seeing none, we will move on to public comment. This time is reserved for members of the public to address the Student Senate on issues not already appearing on the agenda. A limit of 2 minutes per speaker shall be observed with a maximum of 4 minutes per topic. No discussion is allotted on public comment. The law does not permit any action to be taken nor extended discussion of any items not in the agenda. The ASB Student Senate may briefly respond to statements made for questions posed. However, for further information, please contact the ASB Student Senate President for the item of discussion to be placed on a future agenda. Is there anyone from the public who wishes to make a comment? Okay, hearing and seeing none, we will move on to adjournment. If there are no objections, this meeting will be adjourned at 11:58 still a.m. Okay.
I just have a question for Mark. I guess I don't have to say chair because the meeting's adjourned.
If there are no objections, this meeting will be adjourned.
Okay, sorry.
Are there any objections? Hearing none, this meeting is adjourned.